Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm Leslie, and welcome back to another short break from boredom that I like to refer to as the GW. Now, in the first couple episodes, you guys might remember I just talked about some funny costumes that were tried on and some really exciting and interesting one-of-a-kind items that we received as donations. But this time around, you're going to learn about the layout of our door, the silly yet apt descriptions of people that we had to deal with at times, and even the tomfoolery many of them tried to pull in the name of donating. So let's get to it. Now first, the layout. On a regular day, our door looked like this in the wee hours of the morning. Then once we opened, someone would place the mat outside, set up the cones, and lay out the air hose. This was an important piece of equipment because it let us know when someone arrived by setting off a ding inside the door. And then one of us would go outside and take the person's donation. A typical donation process of which would be as follows. Someone would drive into the lane, drop off their stuff, and then depart. That sounds pretty simple, right? It was, at first. About a month into us being open, there was an incident at the door that caused our manager to come up with a One Direction policy. One that required all donors to enter the lane from one end and exit through the other only. However, we were not allowed to put up signs to help with this new objective, so word of mouth was the only way to, get the word out. This caused quite a bit of confusion for a lot of people who didn't understand our lane setup, and we started to notice patterns in the ways that people would try to donate. And from these patterns came what this whole episode is going to be about. Donor dubbing. Okay, it wasn't originally called that. I just came up with that for the video. Leave me alone. First up, a name that I believe was one of the first that we came up with because it happened the most often. That is Kardashians. Apparently, some people were so confused by the lane that they thought they had to back their car in, drop off their stuff, and then depart the way they came. And don't get me wrong, this was understandable at times. Like the situation in episode 1 that I mentioned with the marble top pool table. The next donor dub you need to know about, planters. And I ain't talking about the potted kind. I am talking about the person who would drive toward the donation lane, parallel park to the cones, and basically plant themselves right there in the middle of the road and refuse to move. Furthermore, they would try to donate from there and just claim that they didn't understand the whole setup. To be honest, some people often did this when there was a long line of cars and they just didn't want to wait or something, but they were putting themselves and other people in potential danger. So just if you think about it too much, and I sometimes did, it was a situation that personally just drove me nuts. And lastly, corks. Remember the air hose I mentioned at the beginning? Well, apparently some people got a little tripped up by it, and what a cork would do is drive toward the lane and stop just shy of running over the hose before dropping off their stuff, usually on the sidewalk, and then backing out to drive away. Yeah. For the ones that we could get answers from, most of them thought it was a water hose, and they said they didn't want to run it over. Now, on the one hand, I can kind of understand that. If I was driving and I saw something on the ground, I didn't know what it was, I probably wouldn't run it over either. But on the other hand, if it was a water hose, does it not stand to reason that it would be wrapped up somewhere and not strategically laid on the ground?
I'd like to think so! Ha ha ha!
Well, that's enough of the donors. Time for a story. So one day I was at the door with another coworker. I went outside. There was a couple in a good-sized RV. And they seemed pretty friendly. They got out of the vehicle. They came over and started talking to me for a few seconds. But then we all noticed something pretty scary. And that was that their vehicle had started to roll backwards down the lane. Cue ensuing chaos. Well, the man goes to run and try to get into the driver's seat before any disaster happens. The woman is pretty much freaking out on the sidewalk, wondering if she should call the fire department or the BAU or the Popo. And me, I was just standing on the sidewalk, ready to take the donation whenever it was ready. What? What was I supposed to do? Run over there and stop the RV with my bare hands? As much as I appreciate the thought, I'm not Wonder Woman, you know. Anyhow, the man managed to get into the driver's seat, stopped the RV, thankfully, before it hit anyone or anything. And then he slowly drove it back up in front of me and his wife and actually put the brake on this time. Anyway, then he got out. They donated some stuff. We all had a laugh about it. They left, and that was the end of it. So a pretty eventful day, to say the least. Well, that's all I have for this video, and there will be more coming soon. But until the next video, please enjoy this footage of a little bird taking a dirt bath. Bye.